Doing. It's a Tuesday, Matt, and I'm all set with my Lambo. I'm ready to rock and roll, Matt. I am ready to rock and roll. How you doing?
Gonna be better. Ready for the tournament. It's keeping me focused. Keeping me focused.
And we're live, Matt. We're pushing today.
We are
Look
pushing.
at that.
Yep.
Please retweet.
Yep.
Let's retweet it. I wasn't gonna sing my Lambo song, but we all know it. Look at this guy. Look at the Michigander. And Mr. Dickinson, no?
That's Mr. Dickinson. We can't really represent him. That's why he's faceless here, and he's number one, which is his number. But it's a custom job.
You know that the statue on the top of the Board of Trade Chicago Mercantile Exchange building, Art Deco Siri, that's the statue of Siri up there. She doesn't have a face because when they built it, they were figuring nobody else is building a big building. There's not going to be another.
Nobody's going to
have
see her.
An eye level shot of this statue. Why put a face on her? Let's just go.
Little did they know the drones would be, historically representing all the artwork on buildings in the future.
I kind of like the Art Deco look. I'm all for bringing back Art Deco. All right, let's.
Well, Miami's hot.
We're going to talk Lambo and Bitcoin and cryptos. A lot of good content shared inside the marketvitals.io. Around the age of irony that we will continue to live in, the irony of Bitcoin wanting to replace the traditional banking system and falling into the same system itself. The American Economic Institute, just a great article about how sometimes you want to change things, but as you change, the song remains the same.
Yeah, I think the only thing that changes is the power holders, and the ones that fall out of power then complain about the ones that are in power, and then the ones that are in power do the same shit that the ones before did, and rinse and repeat. As you said, it's the human condition, and you just got to figure out who is in the control of the cycle and where we are in the essence of the life span of that cycle, and play ball.
Play ball. All right, let's play ball, Matt. Let me share, and we can bring up the bracketology. We're going to get to a lot of price discovery here today, but we got to have a quick conversation about the bracket. And today's bracket, we're looking at this Midwest bracket here. Illinois, speaking of IO, leading the charge for the Illini.
Yep.
You know what? I got to tell you something. I got a beef with the bracketologists putting Illinois and then having to face Loyola. Right? They didn't have to do that. I mean, that's a giant rivalry in-state game. It's like if Detroit had University of Detroit had a legitimate team and they put them right there to play Michigan. You wouldn't be happy with that. Like, you don't want a rivalry game, in-state rivalry game. If you're the number one seed, you're supposed to, come on.
I don't have an issue with it. It's
of course you don't, because it's not Michigan playing U of D with I
hope that we get to play. I already told you on the left side of the bracket, I have MSU meeting up with Michigan in the final game of that Eastern bracket. You have Illinois going. Here's what I have Illinois going, by the way, also, and but here's mine. I got Illinois. I have Georgia Tech. Illinois beats Georgia Tech. I have Tennessee. I have Oak State. I have San Diego State. I have West Virginia. I have West Virginia beating San Diego State. I have Clemson. No, excuse me. I have Rutgers beating Clemson. I have Houston beating Cleveland State. I have Houston beating Clemson. Houston goes on to play West Virginia. West Virginia wins. They beat Houston, and they lose to Illinois.
All right.
Okay, that's that bracket for me.
All right, I got against my heritage. I got Houston. I think Illinois stumbles.
Yeah, I mean, is Akeem Olajuwon back on Houston?
I don't know, but like I said yesterday,
are we back to 1981?
You have a 9 quadrillion chance in picking this whole thing correctly. So
I'm not worried about picking it correctly. I'm just worried about winning our bracket, you versus me.
Hey, they're number 2, and they put up 90 in their conference championship, or 80. 80 something. Seems like it's Phi Slamma Jamma back for Houston. You know,
Yeah.
I'm going with that.
What is
I'm
it?
going with that.
I
I
don't
could
even
be
know.
wrong. I've been wrong a lot.
What conference is Houston in these days?
Who cares?
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. I'm just asking. I don't even know who they play. They play Memphis, teams like that. Who are they playing?
I'm not sure, nor do I care. I like their uniforms
Like their uniform.
and their pedigree in the tourney.
What
Anyway, Matt,
pedigree?
let's talk prices.
They had a few illegal years, like Miami Hurricanes. That was their only pedigree. They cheated. See, again, it wraps right into what we started talking about.
Somebody's cheating.
Somebody's cheating.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's talk some prices. You know, we don't talk hogs and cattle a lot. I've traded them a lot, though, over the years. And we got an interesting dynamic going on here. And, you know, as we talk, we shared the article about the Bank of America poll of, I don't know, 200 plus hedge funds, and inflation for sure is on everybody's radar. Food prices, as you just shared before we came on, you know, good luck trying to feed prime steak to your family.
You're back into the peanut butter and egg years is where you are right now. And I'm talking the cheap bulk peanut butter. As I told you yesterday, coming back and ordering some groceries online that I can pick up today last night, which I love doing, by the way. I don't have to go into the grocery stores anymore and deal with the triple maskers. So I avoid all that just by saving myself the torment, which makes me happier. But I went to order just a 3/4, pound sirloin. Just put that, do the reverse sear as you've taught me well. I wanted to try it on a sirloin. I did it with a fillet about a month ago, and I'll give myself every 6 weeks to have a steak. Well, I go to buy one, Bob, and I'm like, I'm expecting that should be $5 or something like that. I'm not going out. I'm cooking it at home, saving, doing the prudent thing. And lo and behold, a 3/4 pounder was $15, $12. I mean, and I shook my head. I'm like, am I going out to eat now? Kind of to your point, like the steakhouses when they come and show you the $87 one that you can take home and cook yourself. Are you going to cook it for me too? Are you going to, what's going on?
Yeah, well, and we got an interesting dynamic, and let me share, because generally cattle prices is more expensive than pork, right? And in the seasonality of it, in the summer, pork has the most expensive part of the curve, and cattle has the least expensive part of the curve. It has to do with the herd, the demand, all these things that drive prices. But in general, you're never buying pork cheaper than beef. Never. Like these things don't cross. It's like it's a long-term capital trade. Like pork prices don't go over beef prices.
Okay.
And I just want to point out that I think this year we could see this anomaly happen. And let me just share, and these are April. This is the 3-day, so a little bit longer look. This is April cattle, so firmly in lower momentum. It looks like it wants to head south. And then April hogs moonshotting. I mean, look at the difference in these two charts on the 3-day. Firmly in up momentum. April looks like it wants to go trade to $1. And then if you go to the summer months, the June cattle looking a little healthier, but it looks fairly toppish to me. And again, when you know that the curve is that cattle prices will depress into the summer, and then you look at the hog prices. So that's 121. This is June hogs already over $1. It doesn't seem to me, by very much a stretch of my imagination, that we could see June cattle come down to $1.12, $1.10, and June hogs go to $1.20. You could get an $8 premium. I mean, it's just, these things don't happen that often. And this hog market is completely parabolic right now. And it'll be interesting to watch and see. And please, please, please don't think that you could trade this as a spread and not risk your life. Long hogs, short cattle, because it's not a spread. It's two different positions. And Believe me, I've seen a lot of pain being dished out on the trading floor when people thought they were spreading one commodity against another. It's two different trades. It's not a calendar spread. It's not a spread. It's two different positions for sure. And not only that, you don't get cross margining on it, right? So it truly, even in the exchange, it's like, yeah, that's not a spread. Yeah. Just for your information.
Well, that's good advice for people because most people don't know. And like you said, it's not really a spread. So be careful is what you're saying. And if you don't understand what Bob just said, stay the F away.
Stay away. But man, I know that the market, the stock market for sure, hasn't priced in a roaring inflation. And the Bank of America poll, all these hedge fund people are looking at major expectation for inflation, and the bonds in 10 years. Let's just talk about them.
Right here, 10 years up to 1.6 this morning, up again. Just again, very bullish looking chart coming back into the area. Really, 1.6 to 2% that kind of battled before its final break, but you can argue now that it's going to test. If you're bearish, right, you're like, okay, this is where it broke down. It should fail here if you're bearish. And if you're bullish, you're like, this thing's just getting going, which it has just been getting going since the summer and making, finding that low there in July, below 0.0 or 0.6%, right? So that's interesting. And that is obviously going to go alongside, Bob, the dollar, and the dollar's been going up. But more interesting this morning, bonds were up again, but they failed again this morning and are back into the 155. As a matter of fact, sold off pretty hard. If anything, there's two things to me that were really of note today as we wait for the FOMC meeting today, tomorrow, the announcement tomorrow. So the market's just dead. So we're going to talk a little bit volatility here, Bob, and we're going to talk a little bit, but you can see why this stopped again. This is, right into the meat on the short-term chart. This is just a 3-day chart. But if it can't get over that 156.20, it can't get to the 157.20, right? So this is the way you have to play it. Sell until it breaks into that, buy if it gets above it. It's pretty basic. Are we going to still? I still think we keep talking about this, but the bonds are still not done going down. They apparently aren't, and so you have to then defer back to the longer term chart. And I still think that this 145 comes into play at some point, and even this is a weekly chart. So if I give you a little closer time frame, you start to see it's struggling at the 61.8, and that was from again the fall low of 2018 up to the high that we just saw here. This is the golden ratio. We're dancing around it right here. This is like the battle, like we're battling, but the bigger picture is still back here again at 154, 153. So I think we have a little bit more to shake those out. And really 152 needs to hold. Otherwise we go to that 145 level. These are the levels. These are the levels that are battle drawn and firm to me. I don't see us getting back above 166 anytime soon. And if we rallied that $10, it would be a great sell again. If you haven't been short, that's where you look to get reshort. If you have been short, you just continue to ride this for the last few months. It's been a very good trending trade and nothing's changed. So again, you're catching knives here. I think better areas of control are 154 and 144 if you want to be a buyer of the bonds. And we're trading back into the 155s this morning. So you've got to look at that. The other thing that goes along with that for me again is the VIX. VIX is just getting made new year lows again here, but not as low as it was prior to, again, we're kind of grinding back. Are we going to go back to the grind where everything, the market was just up 5 points every day and we go back to, the low teens? Possibly, but we're holding, right? We keep holding at this $20 level. We're just below it again this morning. And for me, I think you've got to be long. I think you have to be long volatility again. It gave a good spike earlier in the last couple of weeks. We were long, it spiked, and we sold those. It was back here in early March. Now we're back here again where you're like, okay, you kind of have to buy it again, I think VIX is so low. And if you look at the midterm charts, again, this level has held for most of the election period. And that, and this is what's interesting. We're making a new low here, but look how oversold we are. It doesn't mean we can't go lower.
Right.
But it's not, and again, you're seeing some divergence. You had lower RSI, you had greater momentum back in February than you do now. So that means to me the slowdown in volatility may be coming to an end, and we may get a spike here. There may be something going on.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they in the minutes of the FOMC, if they talk about their forward thinking and articulate it in any other way than what they've been doing.
You're starting to see again the minor players saber rattling again. You have Kim Jong, going.
By the way, magnificent hairdo on Kim.
I think you could pull it off. I don't have the hair to do it.
I don't know. That flat top is magnificent.
I mean, that's a jarhead if I ever saw one. He should be. Maybe he's a Marine. Maybe he's just.
My question right away is: Does he have trouble sleeping?
I think he has no problem sleeping because he takes some pharmaceuticals that are made in China, and he doesn't know what's going on. But the point is, he doesn't like Sleepy Joe. And if Sleepy Joe would like to continue sleeping in his peace, he says, stop the war games. It's interesting that you didn't hear any of this, BS saber rattling, for too long when Trump was in power. I find that interesting.
No, for sure. And along with the VIX we're seeing these prices, gas, food, energy, everything's. I just know this. When rates start flying, when inflation starts flying, the markets are the greatest trading, environment to be in. So this is counterintuitive. I'm praying for it. I'm praying for 6% inflation, where they just blow away their expectations. And it seems to me when nobody's looking for that's when it happens.
So we talked about this last week, Target, Costco, oversold, get a bounce, sell them again. Well, guess what? They got you back to that 180 level where it should stop. And apparently, a lot of people agree with me on this. The sellers came in again, and that level was a breakdown level. So again, if you kind of use the same mentality, and if you're, this to me is very bearish. It looks like it's going to go roll back over. Probably next move will be, 155s. And then ultimately it's way back here at one. And that goes along again. If you don't have the money because I just filled up my gas tank yesterday. And in the 2 weeks since I last filled it up, Bob, it was a 30% increase from the last time. 30% increase. I do keep track of these things. And that's significant to the guy that fills his car up a lot more often than every 3 weeks, right? So, this stuff we continue to harp on it, but it's real. Tesla.
And yet the stock market, the broad indexes are not shuddering yet at all.
Well, Russell was red today. Again, what a weird day. Russell and Dow are red today, like right off the bat. They weren't, and then we made a new high again in the S&P, an all-time high. We have not made an all-time high yet in the SPOOs, in the Nasties. We're still 700 points away from 13.9. So, and again, you start to see this in the charts. Look at Tesla. Okay, you held the line that you should have, right? A simple trend line here at 550. You bounced up to 750 or whatever it was. What's left? You're right into the meat here. Where's your buyers? If this is such a value down here versus 902, you should be loving this all day at 700. But the selling came back again today. And really the last 5 days, it's just kind of chopped with the rest of the market. So, again, after the FOMC tomorrow, I expect nothing. You should expect nothing. And if they raise rates, guess what? The market gets killed. If they raise.
Yeah,
rates.
they ain't raising rates, but they
there
can
you go.
surely.
But nobody's expecting it. But
right now, but they could for surely change their guidance to a.
Listen, they already foretold. They said, I saw somewhere over the weekend that 2023 they're targeting to raise rates. I'm like,
yeah, bullshit. Yeah, okay. Their crystal ball.
Right.
Their crystal ball. Okay.
So to me, yeah, again, there's not a lot going on there. But the thing that I'll point out, and let me bring up another NASDAQ stock that we mentioned earlier in Market Vitals to the community, and that's Carvana. And this is another one of those we talked about. If you want to look at a name that went crazy, sold off hard again, 322 down to 240, $80. I mean, that's almost a 30% haircut, definitely over 25. It came right back to the 61.8, and I'm short again. You got to be short, whether you're buying puts, whether you're selling outrights. This is what you're looking for, because if you believe the story, the narrative that you and I are seeing, which is the consumer is going to be hit. I don't care what kind of cars you're selling and what kind of fancy little store you have that stores them. If you've ever seen one of the Carvana buildings,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, okay, it's just another quirky retail, but this is not going to do well. You've got a $22 billion market cap. Hertz just went out of business. And they, I mean, they're bankrupt. They're going to come back and magically appear again. But all these companies do, just like airlines, is wipe out your money. And with that in mind, I gotta throw up like the American Airlines chart, because this thing is up, from the bottom what is it, like 10x, and we're still not flying. However, I can tell you, after traveling this past week, planes were 80% full. So don't buy the hype that people aren't going out. And everybody's masked. It's pretty calm. They don't really, they give you a bag of water and shit. There's no service anymore. So there's not a lot of.
It's the time to become a steward or stewardess.
Right. Prices are creeping back up. But again, this thing, went from $9 to 30, now hanging around 24. But again, the old joke, how do you become a millionaire in airlines? You start with $1 billion. And it's kind of the same thing for me.
Right. Yeah. Commodity trading also.
Yeah.
Commodity trading also.
When it comes to the car stock. So Carvana is one, again, that I threw up there that I think is in big trouble. Listen, Amazon still, if you want to look at the consumer, I mean, everybody has to order online now. Well, guess what? This thing, again, it broke. It's bounced back. It got to its 50. Not even its 50, it got to its 38. It's struggling here. And you can see why. There's tons of time and there's tons of people trapped since, July, Bob. This, at some point, this thing breaks hard to shake out everybody that's trapped, right? Everybody in here that's long, pretty much everybody for the last 7 months, 8 months is trapped. They haven't been shaken out yet. They will be. And when they are, guess what? This thing has a long way to go. It's going to go down to 2,400. That's $700 from here. And it held the first time, which it should. But the next time through, be wary. It's not going to do the same thing. And this is how they trap people, right? The buy the fucking dip people. They think that it worked.
They've been able to cheer for a while.
Yeah, but they also don't.
At the end of the day, when everybody tries to leave, the buy the dip. I've seen that too.
The musical chairs, exactly. When it ends violently and it goes right to here. So, you know what? If you want to cover your short, this is a good area. If you want to get long, just have a stop below 2,200 because it's a very tight ledge down here also. This is a big ledge. This one's a battleground. And when this one goes, it's going to be a long time until we trade these numbers again. So just consider that. Right now, this is very, very bearish. Facebook, we haven't talked about it in a while, but let's bring that up. And then I want to talk a little bit about natural gas because there may be a buy there. Again, Facebook keeps trying. It battled, sold off. Now it's back to the top of this bracket, but all your lines are still bearish. It's trapping people. It's basically the same chart with the top end being heavy, and the other one's kind of the bottom. The bottom end of that area is heavy on Amazon. But you're looking at the same type of price action. So the market's had a big halt on technology. And they've gotten a big pass so far during the first 55 days of the Biden presidency. But, I think eventually people are going to stand up. Google's a little different, and I'll bring that one up. But Google, not at all-time highs, but also not failing. So this to me tells me that, the Google machine is the biggest and baddest right now when it comes to, the FANGs. And until that changes, you've got to respect where it is right now. I don't want to buy it. I don't really want to sell it either. I just want to watch it. I want to use it as a guidepost for me. That's kind of how I see it. Goldman Sachs also made another new high just yesterday again. So 354 down $13 again. Who knows? Very, very bullish still. but way out of value, way so far out of value. But talk about being in bed with the government, right? I mean, this is all this tells me is that Goldman is the U.S. government. So 180.
Well, for sure. I mean,
You've doubled. I mean, Bob. I mean, the two stocks I want to just kind of talk about real quick here. Think about this. They've added 55, 60 billion in market cap since November. Goldman Sachs, and that's a huge. I mean, it's astronomical. Like, think about these numbers. And then Boeing, same thing, 139 to 280. These things have doubled since election night, and yet I don't think things have gotten doubly better. Matter of fact, I think it's almost the reverse. So I don't know what to make of this, but when you see this full-on algo machined,
and the money, and they have the money that they can borrow at zero to put it to work.
Yeah.
So,
but to me, this is not the time to be buying these stocks after they've doubled. I mean, again, you've got a 75 billion market cap added to the 75 billion it was November 1st. Astronomical moves. I mean, when you consider the size and the girth of these companies, Bob. So, again, just a lot to chew on right now. GameStop, kind of talk about.
Let's just be clear on GameStop. It is just a no limit poker game.
Yeah, but again, we talked about
that's what it is. You're sitting at the GameStop, you're trading GameStop, you're playing no limit poker. The other guy has a bigger stack than you, you're in trouble here. And anybody that thinks that it's any different is crazy. That nobody's trading the value of GameStop going forward and how many games they can sell and what they're going to do with their brick and mortar. None of that analysis is going on. It's just piles of money playing no limit poker. That's what it is.
Yep. And right now, again, you're a fool if you're buying it. You only want to be short. You better have deep pockets if you want to be short this. But that's the story of this. And look at that. Again, we talked about it a week ago. It tagged 61.8 and reversed that day. And since then, hung around the 50, and now it's below the 38.2. It's over again. Like there's no momentum to the upside. And the volume was, 1/3 of the volume we had on this, which is, again, this is the typical market behavior for a dead cat stock that bounces like this, that gets squeezed. It plays out over time, but eventually people will get bored of the plaything because it's not going back to 518, and now it's not going back to 325. Sorry, it's not going back there. So you got trapped once.
You're the barrel of bad news.
You got trapped twice, and it's over now. Like it's not going to. You can't. People aren't that dumb. They're dumb. But you do this many times, people start getting a little, they're broker. Let's put it this way. They're not chasing it anymore. So I throw that out there just because, again, and another one of the, favorites, again, Fizz, these things had this, and again, you see them bounce at the same time. So the Reddit bras have no effect on the market. I wish people, again, we'll stop talking about them soon enough because they have no effect. It's just the big boys playing big boy games. And, so don't fall into the trap that this is going on. Fastly, we've talked about it before. It was a great bounce, this time that you could have shorted into. And again, it's dragging on the bottom here, traded all the way down to 61 here at the end of February. And it's just trying to get back into an area where you can sell again. So, which is really 80 to 95 bucks. Pick your poison again, sell out of the money calls up to that $90, $100 level. You'll probably make some money, collect the premium while the thing trades. I think it's a very good opportunity just to continue because these moves are wide and you can sell the out of the monies for fat premium. And it's likely not going to trade to 100 again. So
until it does,
but then it's very easy to cover yourself. So again, if you know what you're doing, there's a lot of good opportunities out there for the patient player. And, let's talk a little bit about gold. While we have it, still trying to find a bottom. Who knows? Can't get above until it can get above 1740. It can't go to 1780. And if it can't get to 1780, it can't get to 1840. So these are your levels: 1740, 1760 to 1800. Then you got the point of control on this current time frame. Going back to fall. Somewhere around 1860. I would love to sell 1860 again. So if you folks,
do you have any fear that at some point this chart completely change its complexion if we get a a 4% inflation headline number, at some point, is there a reason to hold gold?
No.
And that's rhetorical because, and we both know it. Yeah, when the chart displays that, of course there is.
Yeah,
but it certainly hasn't showed up so far, even with all the inflation expectations out there.
Right.
It has not played out in the gold market.
No, it hasn't at all. I mean, again, the trend. You could show a 3-year-old and they could tell you. You could say which way is this going, up or down? They'll tell you it's going down. So the
going down.
The 3-year-old test is always a good way to ask yourself which way is it moving and which way of the market do I want to be trading with. And if you can't answer it, then there may not be a trend. But this one's very clear. It was 2,100. It is, into the 1,600s. That's a $500 haircut, $400 haircut. That's significant, and it's not going to go away overnight. Natural gas has come in. We've talked about that a number of times, so let's bring it up again here. And Natty is, hang on. Again, trading 250 down considerably. This had, again, it's compacting here. I think, again, if you can pick it up in the 230s, pretty cheap, 230 to, $1.90. That's your ultimate bottom. And again, you got some seasonalities coming into play, but I like this. If you want something that's buy the F and dip and you like the commodity super story and you like the fact that the Keystone shut down, this should benefit prices in natural gas, right? So this should drift to the upside, but we got a little overblown, couldn't make a new high, 330 to 250. It's 80 cents. It's significant. Again, almost a 30% drop off there. So that's real pain. Again, we never suggest chasing, but if you're looking for opportunities to buy, this is probably one that provides a little better risk scenario. All right.
Right on, Matt. Let's talk crypto briefly here. And we have a little segment. We call it Crypto After Dark. Crypto After Dark, the stories they don't want to tell you in the crypto sphere. And you know what? Let me just share, just so I can show the headline in the article, because it was so informative, Matthew. Just an informative article, and I love this American Institute of Economic Research. I highly recommend the website and their posts. Very thoughtful. And really, what the article talks about is that how Bitcoin wanted to replace the current fiat market, yet it runs into the same problems as the fiat market. As you know, if you want to have, the whole idea is that you want your transaction on chain, so it's immutable, verifiable, can't be changed, yada yada yada. The problem is if everybody wants to do that, the cost to do it all of a sudden becomes the same cost it would be in the fiat market to move large sums of money, or approaching it. And so to solve that, they've gone to all these off-chain or side-chain things. Well, that's not what it was set out to do. So the ambiguousness of the off-chain, and is that really reliable? Are all those transactions immutable? It gets very sticky anyway. I just wanted to point it out because it's amazing how the more things change, the more they stay the same. Now, for sure, you have power structures. That's why these chains split. It's not this, this euphoric, what's the word, nirvana of a community. There's power struggles. People are greedy, even in crypto, and you're not going to get away from that. Anyway, let's jump to the chart though and talk. Not your chart, my chart. Give me my chart. You with your colors and your chart. But the 3-day, pretty bearish reversal here if this holds up. And I just wanted to point this out. I know I pointed it out yesterday. that we could go all the way down to this momentum level, and I just want to keep reiterating the level. It's somewhere around 52,000, 51,830. And I think that's where this thing needs to go to have the argument to see if we're going to, bounce and continue this bull rally to 70, 80,000 maybe. So I'm being patient, Matthew. And I've been patient for a while and have missed out on the last 10,000 of this move, but that's okay. That's fine in trading. Like you're gonna miss at bats. You're a missed trade, by the way.
I am. That's the name.
Anyway, food for thought. You mentioned also today in the network as the as markets slow down, especially if you're trading indexes and they're not doing much. That's the time you need to go further your knowledge around your trading system methodology and or the fundamentals that might be driving your ideas.
Yeah, as pros, we thrive on the chaos, but we know what to do when the chaos comes. When it's slow, that's the time to figure out what to do when the chaos comes. If the price goes to 40,000 on Bitcoin today, what am I going to do? Right? That is the question you should be asking yourself. If it traded 40,000 today, what would I do? Well, the answer is, depending on your time frame, there's a lot of answers, a lot of ways you can answer it. If we look at a real short time frame here, and then we'll fractal out, Bitcoin again had the little Friday, Saturday bump, and then it, again with the Reddit bros they're bored over the weekend, they got nowhere to go, they're done gaming, they're done playing.
It was minuscule volume too, by the way.
Total, yeah. I mean, you can see it right here. No volume at all. No volume. And then the selling comes in, and there's real sellers. So they were happy to, see that price on Sunday at 60,000 and hammer the shit out of it. Oh, okay. Here we go. 6 o'clock on Monday morning here. Oh, well, the real players are back. Hammer. And this is how, and again, you can't explain time to Reddit bros because they just look at the day price. That's all they care about. It's up, it's down. That's all they care about. They don't look at the reference and where the markets come from. And you have to do this. But you can see, guess what? The battle line is drawn and it's 56,000. It's done. It keeps coming back and trying to test closer and closer, but it can't get there. The sellers push lower and lower in price because they know it won't even get there now. So now you can see it spent 4 days here before it broke out. Now we're 2 days into testing the bottom. So we kind of held it on this side. Now it's, it went from this to this, ceiling to, it went from ceiling to floor back to ceiling, right? So now we're back to a ceiling. And, I also showed this in the network this morning, talking about,
Ethereum, yeah.
Ethereum, and it's even, I think, a little bit further ahead in the chart here. So let's try to bring that up just to show that. But you can kind of see it's the same chart, but even it had less of a move up. It really didn't go far. It went from 1750 to 1900, and now it's doing the same thing. It's all hanging around. So you see this when you see the same patterns in like the macro plays, which in the crypto world, I guess we consider Bitcoin and Ether the macros of the junk, of the pet rocks. And, again, the volume heavy on the downside, nothing on the upside, nothing at all. So that should be a warning sign to you. That's not real buyers coming in, but real sellers are here. There's people happy to sell it to you at these prices. The Winklevoss twins most likely are selling it to you up in here. And but they're still promoting and talking their shit, but that's the reality. Novogratz can't believe that India is going to put a kibosh on it. So, but he'll sell to you too. He's not a holder; he's a trader. But again, you see this on the daily chart, Bob. It's you want to be long that? I don't want to be long this chart at all. Matter of fact, this is A1. What we talked about: sell off, rally, fail. Now the big leg's going to come next. The big leg's going to come. We're going to trade down to 1,000 on Ethereum. So I'm giving you an $800 head start. You can sell it here, or you can sell it at 1,000. Your call.
Guaranteed, probably.
I will guarantee it. Within the next 3 months.
All right, Matt. I'm not in total disagreement though. Though the crypto has been resilient beyond my expectations here over the past 2 months. I thought we'd get a much healthier correction than we have. And
But
so
this daily chart is telling again. We looked at Ether, and now we're going to look at the daily here. This thing is starting to roll over. This is not.
I agree. I actually agree, but
I
it also started to
seeing
roll over back at the.
I love seeing a new high intra-week that doesn't hold. It's never a good sign.
Well,
and
for me, the high being made on it's like they cheated the high on Saturday when nobody.
Yeah, well, and they can't even make this. They can't even get back to this. And again, we talked the reference on that one right there, right? If we, that 56,000 is really your level right now, and that was the old high. So it's just hanging around. It doesn't know what to do. It's chopping wood. It's chopping broccoli, waiting for volatility in the overall markets to come back. And when it does, it'll give it you'll have a reason to sell because all assets are one. So and
bada bingo.
I mean, it's just I don't say this flippantly. I say it because that's what the market's been doing. Until that changes, go with what is working. The banking index also, by the way, we talked about this, made another new high, but doesn't seem to be doing a heck of a lot since, traded to 124 late last week. And now again, even it is beginning to struggle a little bit here. So the banking index, should be leading us. One other, a lot of these things are just flailing. SMH, which is the chips, again, not making, not even getting close to, if we were truly in a bull market territory, you would see these chips well above 250 for sure. But all it's done is work off the oversold, right? Trap game. The new shorts were trapped down here. Now the new longs are getting trapped at the same time. It hasn't, the trap hasn't been exposed, but the next move, I believe, will be down. We've been going up now for almost 2 weeks. And after the bounce, and it was just because it's so weird how this market has been. We only go up the first week and a half, and then we go down into the end of the month. We make a new low, and then we've bounced. That's been January, February, March so far. So like it's an interesting time to like pay attention to the last 3 months, because although we're at all-time highs, we're not going anywhere, right? Here was the the January open, right in here. So we were trading at 220, 225 or so, and we're at 240. So it's hard to be really excited about this market on so many levels. And these are the things that should be leading, and they're just kind of flailing. They're just kind of making new highs and getting people softly excited. But you don't have Trump talking about the Dow making new highs every day, so people aren't as excited about it, I don't think.
Well, the other thing too is, I have said that I want to see the stimulus hit. The $1,400 checks get set out so the Reddit bros can buy their Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. That's happened here. Most people have gotten their deposits, and there hasn't been a giant bump in anything. I don't know.
Guess what? The bump happened. The bump happened the 2 weeks into it, so the bump already happened. Yeah, it already happened. So sell the news. Sell the news,
man. All right, listen. Please
we talked about this.
Retweet and share the broadcast. Go ahead, Matt. Finish it up.
We talked about the fact that you will get a bounce off that sell-off in February, and that's the one you want to reload and sell. So I'm talking the game now. The game move we projected happened. If you were long, sell them. Now you should be thinking about playing the dark side, because although the highs are being made in the Dow, the Russell, by the way, weak again today, right off the get-go. Same with the Dow. It doesn't mean these things can't go higher. We have the Fed tomorrow. I don't know. Again, I don't see anything but the same old from the Fed. So there's nothing new. And then after that, what do you have left? You got, like you said, the checks are already in the mail or they're in their accounts. Kamala is president still, and Joe has never given a press conference in his career as a president. I mean, these are the facts.
These are the facts.
All
right, Matt. Thank you so much. Have a great day. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Please visit marketvitals.io. Join the community.
Trade them well, Bobby.